Good morning. I am delighted to have the honor of introducing you today to Academy alumna Susan Dunklee, who is a member of the U.S. biathlon team. I've known Susan for almost 15 years, since she first walked into Ranger 110 as a freshman. To date, Susan is the only student who has done laps around the interior of my classroom on a unicycle. Susan is an incredibly talented and also modest person, so before she speaks, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about some of her accomplishments at the Academy and beyond. Susan graduated from the Academy in 2004. While here, she competed as a 3-season athlete in cross country, Nordic skiing, and track. She set school records in 3 track events. She was the cross country state champion in 2003, and the runner-up the 2 years prior to that. She was a league champion 3 years running. She won the honor of being a track state champion 5 times in 3 events over a period of 3 years. From the Academy, Susan moved on to Dartmouth College, where she was a several-time NCAA All-American in Nordic skiing and an All-Ivy selection in cross-country running. She also competed on the Woodsman's team in all her spare time and served as a leader in the outing club. Susan turned to the biathlon after her graduation from Dartmouth in 2008, training with the U.S. team, and this past March, she came in 5th in the 15K Biathlon World Championships, earning her international recognition. Beyond these spectacular athletic accomplishments, Susan is also a gifted academic. She graduated from the Academy as salutatorian, where she took part in Math League all 4 years and won several academic awards at graduation, and she went on to win the Scholar Athlete Award at Dartmouth, recognized for her work majoring in ecology. During the summers, while training, Susan helped research invasive wildflowers out in Colorado. And even though she was a top athlete, she managed to study abroad in Germany, learning a language which has come in handy as she has traveled back to Europe again and again during her training. She has recently volunteered with research on maple trees at Cornell University, and she plans to be a field scientist when she moves on from her career as an athlete. Susan has had a strong sense of community service as long as I've known her. This past fall, for example, she helped run a biathlon day for young people at the Craftsbury Outdoor Center, where Susan first competed as a young student herself, and where she now trains during part of the year with the U.S. biathlon team. Susan is one of the most giving people I know, and in my opinion, her best talent is her ability to make any type of activity, whether athletic, academic, or recreational, a tremendous amount of fun for all involved, always reaching out to include others. It's now my great pleasure to welcome Susan back to the Academy and to Chapel, and to be here with all of you today to hear her speak to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. That was quite the introduction. It's really good to be back here. It's been a few years since I've been in Fuller Hall for Chapel, and it's kind of cool to be back. Make sure this thing is working. Let's see. No input detected, is that?
No input. We'll get there. There you go.
Cool. So as Jenny said, one of my favorite things to do when I was here at St. J was to do skiing and running. And I followed that passion. I kept following that passion into college. And I didn't exactly know where it was going to take me, but it turns out it brought me to where I am today, and that's to be a member of the U.S. biathlon team, which is quite an honor to be part of. And it's a team I really love being on, and it's a neat sport. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the sport of biathlon at all. If you watched any of the Vancouver Olympics, you might have seen it on TV. It combines cross-country skiing and rifle marksmanship. So skiers compete on a ski course. They all ski like 2 or 3 kilometer loops. They wear a .22 caliber firearm. mid-race, they come into a shooting range, and they aim at targets. Any targets they miss, they have to do a penalty loop for. And then they keep skiing, and the fastest person across the finish line wins the race. And as you can imagine, it's a pretty difficult sport because you have to combine an endurance physical sport where you're trying to go hard, your heart rate's beating 3 times a second, with something like shooting where you have to be very still and calm and zen-like. And I like to describe competitive shooting as a zen-like sport. And people always think that's kind of strange because it's firearms, right? But yeah, you got to be really calm. Your head's got to be in a quiet place to be able to shoot well, and it's a challenge. It takes a long time to master shooting well, and it's the sort of thing you never really master. You just keep striving after. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going after right now that I haven't done yet is trying to make an Olympic team. And the next Winter Olympics are in Sochi, Russia, 2014. I'm sure you guys all saw the London Olympics. Those are the summer games. And so my goals, though, are not simply to go to the Olympics. I don't want to be a warm body on the starting line. I want to be in Sochi, and I want to be competing to be near the top of the results list, to do as well as I can and be competitive with that field. So when you set big goals for yourself, you need to have certain requirements, certain things in place that'll help you reach them, right? You've got to work hard. You've got to have people to help you. And those people are coaches and teachers and people like that. You also need people who can relate to what you're doing and support you and strengthen you. And those are your friends and your peers, your classmates. And as Jenny said, one of my favorite things to do with whatever I'm doing is try to keep things fun and find ways to make whatever I'm doing interesting. So I'm going to talk about each of these things in a little more detail. First off, any goal you set for yourself is going to be a lot of work, right? The Olympics only come every 4 years, and 4 years is a long time. You guys know how long 4 years is, I'm sure? So to get through the 4 years, and during the 4 years, and you're putting in all this work, you gotta, well, for me, my work involves increasing my fitness, for one. I put in a lot of volume of training hours, increase my aerobic capacity. I do intensity work where I'll run up hills several times in a row really hard, or around a track, or along a ski course. It's the same thing that you guys would do if you were on the running team here or the track team. I work on my strength, my agility, all that sort of stuff. And it's a year-round job. Anything that you're going to work on in life that is going to be great, it takes a lot of work. You gotta put the hours in every day, months in a row, years in a row. I've been doing this sport now for 5 years. I think I'll do it for at least 2 more, maybe even 6 more. And I put in 3 or 4 hours a day of physical training. I work on the little details, ski technique. I'm sure any of you who play basketball or football, there's little things like the way you throw the ball or catch the ball that you can perfect. And skiing is the same thing. It's just the way I swing my arms. I can perfect all those little details. And shooting. The idea with shooting is to shoot the exact same way every time. So I practice it thousands of times, probably 15,000, 20,000 times a year. And I have to go outside whether it's raining or it's hot and humid. It's just getting out every day to do that work. And it's the same sort of thing that you guys do, here. You're working for 4 years trying to get a degree, your diploma, right? You're trying to get into college, you're trying to pass a class, you're trying to get a good job, figure out what you want to do with your lives. And what do? You do homework every night. You take notes in class, and you have to be focused for all those hours during the day. That's 7 hours every day. That's a lot of hours to be focused. But you do it because there's a goal at the end, and it's hard work, but you're going to get there. And so, just to explain some of these pictures, for cross-training for me, I get to do running, skiing, biking, go on a roller ski treadmill. Those things are kind of interesting. Hiking, shooting, all that sort of fun stuff. So another piece that you need for your goals is you need people to help you, right? And for me, that's my coaches. It's my wax technicians. They take care of the skis. You can see a couple of them in some of those pictures. My parents have always been there for me. A lot of people have, and you can see some of those people in those pictures. These people who help, they often will set really high standards for me. They'll ask me to do things, workouts and stuff that I'm not always sure I'm going to be able to do. And it might be painful, it might make me uncomfortable to try to push myself that hard. These people will hold me accountable. They'll identify some of my weaknesses and try to help me improve on those. But at the root of it all, they're just trying to help. You know, they're there for me. They want me to be the best person, best athlete I can be, and they want to be the best coach they can be. And I think you guys are really lucky here at St. J because you have an amazing set of teachers, and I always felt this when I was here, that truly do want you to be the best students you can be. And they're going to challenge you, and that's their job. They're going to make it hard for you. They're going to give you homework assignments that are not always fun, but they have your best interest at heart. Another group of people that you really need if you're going to go after high goals is you need your friends and your peers. For me, those are my teammates. I spend a lot of time with them. And out of all the people in the world, they understand what I'm doing better than anybody else because they're doing the same thing. They're sharing their experience with me. Our day-to-day lives are very similar. And it's interesting with a team because if one person's doing really well and they've had a success lately, there's a lot of strength that comes from that, and you can share that strength, and it rubs off, and other people can take heart from that. And if you're struggling and you're not doing so well, your teammates are there to pick you up then too, so you can share your successes and your strugglings. We also are a little competitive with each other, and you need that also to improve. If one of us decides we're going to ski a little faster and we work a little harder, the rest of the group has to work a little harder to keep up. And so we're always pushing each other. Here at St. J, you guys have your classmates and your friends. A lot of you guys, just like us, you share all these things together on a day-to-day basis. You can relate to each other better than just about anybody else in the world. You have the same frustrations, you have the same goals, you have the same sort of challenges that you're going through on a day-to-day basis. So you're very valuable to each other, and just keep that in mind. You guys, you're there for each other, right? And one of the last things that's really important for achieving goals is keeping things fun. Because a lot of this stuff, it's long-term, right? You got to put in a lot of work. But you're not going to want to keep putting in the work if you're not getting anything out of it or it's not enjoyable. You got to keep it fresh, exciting, interesting. And so these are a few pictures of things that we do every now and then to keep things interesting. Going out first snow of the year in bikinis, skiing around, or going off jumps and stuff, dyeing our hair bright pink. Just random little spontaneous things that keep life interesting. Like I said before, skiing and running are things that I've loved to do since I was pretty young. And I didn't know where they'd take me, but I just kept doing what I loved and just watch to see where it would take me. So, yeah. I think for you guys, I know there's a lot of stuff going on at school and it's busy, but if you take a little time to do something that you enjoy with people you enjoy every day, it makes a difference and it'll keep you fresh and excited about chasing down future goals. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up is how important it is to believe in yourself. Goals by nature are uncertain. You set a high goal for yourself, you don't know if you're going to achieve it. You don't know if you can achieve it, even if you put in all the work. One of my coaches likes to say that you need to put in a lot of work and you got to have a little bit of luck to do things, because you can do all the work in the world and then you get sick on the wrong day and you're not going to have the race of your life when you need to have the race of your life. But you just got to trust that it's going to fall into place one of these days, and you got to go for it and just, believe. And just set goals that are a little higher than you think you're possibly capable of doing, because even if you don't quite make that goal, you might surprise yourself with what you do achieve. So, yeah. Thank you very much, and it was great to talk to you guys.
So thanks so much to Susan for joining us this morning, and I hope that is an inspirational start to your morning. Thank you.